Hello and welcome to the Sheffield United Way. How are we all doing out there? Let us know in the chat how you are doing, how your Friday's gone, and if you've been struggling with the snow. I think we'll mention the snow a few times in this video. But in today's match preview, you will get Sheffield United and Luton team news ahead of tomorrow's 3 p.m. kickoff at Bramall Lane, as well as last time out, player connections, and wait until the end for our score predictions. If you are the biggest Sheffield United Way fan in the world, you'll already know mine and Ollie's, but you will see Hal's very, very soon. Hal the Blade, welcome to the stream. How you doing, mate?
Good. It's been a while since we've done one of these together. And the snow, I mean, maybe we could throw it out there, like snow a footballer, like instead of Tony Curry, Tony Fleury, Sander Iceberg.
We could do things like that.
Yeah, okay, we're not going to do that. I get that from the tone of your voice. Totally understood. I'll go back in my box.
Well, the difference is you've obviously been thinking about that. I've been put on the spot, and I would go Barry Hales.
Yes.
Do you know what? That Barry Hales is the first player that came to mind for some weird reason, and it worked.
Very good. Very good. I'm now desperately trying to think of some. I can't. Pop some in the comments whenever you're watching this.
It's almost like the Arsenal watch-along all over again, isn't it? And I don't know if anyone right now in the comments understands that reference, but we had a very, very good time in that Arsenal watch-along.
Heads no.
Exactly. So, as you can see on screen right now, we've got all our sponsors. Wait, let me do this right. Parrot Peel, NordVPN, and then Hal's going to have to do the Indigo pre-match bar. There you go. Parrot Peel, the greatest band of all time. NordVPN, the greatest VPN service of all time. And Indigo is obviously the bar where we go before every game, and it's the greatest bar of all time. Hal, like you said earlier, we haven't done one of these for ages. I'm very, very excited, but I'm going to talk about a game that wasn't too exciting, which was the Reading game. We came away with a 1-goal victory. I did the match reaction for that, as I always do for these late ones, because I'm such a great guy. And let you go to sleep and let Ollie, I suppose, go to sleep as well. Anyway, so in this game, we were okay. One little bit of greatness undid the boys that are Reading. And that's all that she wrote, really. We weren't particularly good. We were mediocre, but the fact that we haven't won away from home in the league all this year, sorry about that, and they haven't lost at home this year, it was fantastic. That's what we wanted. That is all that we wanted. We got the 3 points. We are now 7 points clear of second, third. And I can't speak because I'm coughing like a madman. So do you want to go?
Speak. Yeah, it's just like darts commentary right here. Nick's muted himself and said nothing to me that can really be led on from that. All I will add is, last game was pretty dull, and I think
you're a pro, man. Get going.
I'm pro, fine. Good. I enjoyed that one. What I will jump straight into then, after we've looked at that Reading game, is because we're playing Luton, or Luton, as I believe it's spelt. We'll go back to the 22nd of January, 2022, and Jack Robinson scored his first goal in over 3 years, his first Blades goal, as we beat Luton. They only had 10 men. It was at Bramall Lane. The Blades defender headed in. It was a wonderful goal. We talked about it at the time as being like a momentous, memorable moment. Rhian Brewster as well, if we're talking about also momentous moments, because it felt like it was a sort of a novelty, sometimes a bit of a rarity. But Rhian Brewster had opened the scoring early in the second half in that match, and I'll just call them by their proper name. Luton's hopes of a comeback evaporated because they had Reece Burke sent off. Do you remember? He hauled down Rhian Brewster in that game. It was pretty clear red card, and the Blades won by 2-0. We'll take the same again.
Funny you should say that. You were talking about Jack Robinson's first goal for over like 3 years. Since then, if you asked me who scored more goals, Rhian Brewster or Jack Robinson, what would I say back to you?
You'd say, I'm not sure, but the best one was definitely scored by Brewster.
Yeah, but it was the worst game of all time.
the worst game of all time. I think you and me missed the first 10 minutes of that game as well, and then we only saw the rubbish.
How did you know that? How do you remember that?
You're my friend and we talk, and I care what you say.
I was coming back from somewhere. I can't remember what it was, and I was stuck in traffic. And I'm like, I'm going to be home on time. Wasn't home on time, and it happened after what, like a minute or two?
Yeah, something like that. By the way, the team that day, players that were playing, I always like looking at this. So it's mostly your usual suspects, apart from the fact that Halrahan was playing in midfield. There was also Reece Norrington Davis. Oh, what we'd give to have him as an option back in this game, and Rhian Brewster. But otherwise, all the players I mentioned could actually be involved in this one on Saturday, if it goes ahead.
If it goes ahead, I think it's probably time we talk about that for a second, because Hull is in the land of, I'm going to say the land of dragons. That's not a thing, is it? You're not in Game of Thrones.
I don't
you
like
are in
stuff
Cyprus.
like that either. I don't like dragons and mystical stuff. You know me, I've talked about this before. I don't like superhero movies. I don't like anything that can't happen.
You're so boring.
I am.
Did you say mystical instead of mythical?
Yeah. Yes, I think you were going to pick up on that. Yeah.
First time I have ever been more intelligent than you. I love that. Absolutely do. So Hal's not had any snow today. He sent me a message today saying, oh yeah, it's bad here as well. It's dropped to 22 degrees. And I'm like, it's not on. It's not on. Some fantastic people on my road have dug the whole kind of everyone out of all their drives.
Mate,
which
I wasn't born and brought up in Cyprus, all right? I was born in Scotland. I know snow. I've had my share of snow. And because I'm older than you, I've had more snow than you. I've dug up more snow than you. I lived in Germany where you had to have snow tires and chains on your car just to get down the road. I know snow. Don't talk to me about snow. I got sick of snow, so I left snow, and now it's nice. And I deserve it.
But you've not seen any snow today, have you? That's what I was kind of going on to. I wasn't saying that you've never had snow in your life, because looking at your complexion, it's like snow in it. Snow in it, actually.
I don't tan.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so I've had a lot of snow today. But some people were annoying me on Twitter today because they're like, oh, look outside, there's no snow. And it's like, of course there's no snow. Like certain places of the world, there isn't snow.
People on Twitter voice.
Other places do have snow today. My outside of my house is covered in snow still. But I've just seen from Sheffield United fan services on Twitter, I'm not sure if you've seen this just before you went on.
I've seen it.
That they've put out loads of pictures and said all the staff's done a fantastic job today. So fingers crossed for tomorrow. So Sheffield United think that this will go ahead unless everything freezes. And it's very slippery underfoot.
A couple of serious points. We know some really good supporters of this channel, friends of this channel that have travelled a long way, in some cases for their first ever live Sheffield United game. We'll be gutted for them if it doesn't. Yeah, we'll be gutted for them. There's a Portland, Oregon Blade. There's others.
Portland, Oregon Blade.
JP as well. A few others that have done a bit of travelling. And also, one really serious thing to consider. I mean, I remember going to Derby County away, a game that was actually rearranged. And it shouldn't really have gone ahead the second time. It was actually worse weather the second time, but I felt like they just went, we can't postpone it again. Everyone will be fine. And it was actually the outside surroundings, which had frozen, that were really dangerous. And I fell, I cracked a bone. There were people that were far more serious than that. It shouldn't have gone ahead. It was a terrible game. We lost 2-0. Paddy Kenny had a nightmare, and Izzy McLeod scored. And then Warnock was like, oh, he scored. We must sign him. He'll be great. It was one of those nights. So actually, long term, it had huge ramifications. But I think it's the really important thing is, are the surrounds going to be safe? It's all well and good getting the pitch and Bramall Lane clear of snow. People, in some cases, got to come from quite a long way. So whatever they do, I hope they make the decision early. Yeah,
exactly. And Luton fans need to be told in advance, really, to be honest. A lot of Luton fans were tweeting Sheffield United saying, can you let us know before 6 p.m. today? That's never going to happen, lads and lasses. But tomorrow early, it would be nice for them to say, let's be honest, we're not going to get this on. It's way too slippy. It's way too icy. Let's not risk it. I saw somebody on Twitter saying, they'll probably just play it behind closed doors. When has that ever happened other than COVID?
I've been to Bramall Lane. I remember going to a game at the Lane against Reading. And this Reading couple, it was a man and a woman, they were embraced in love. the early flushes of love, because they still looked happy. And they walked past my dad and I, and they said, "Game's off." Now, you don't just believe two people saying that to you. So we carried on, got to the ground.
Let's just turn round.
Let's just go home. They've said it, and they're in love, so they must know. No, it was, and we got all the way, there. That was the time when I was living the closest I've ever lived in Tadcaster. But it was still a fairly long way. So I don't want people to have to go through that, getting there, turning around.
Yeah, absolutely. And Luton is far away. I did Luton
130 miles. We did Luton together, didn't we? And nothing bad came of it.
No. Well, just a terrible 0-0 draw, and people giving you stick on Twitter.
Quite a
But
lot.
that's just on the regs, isn't it? Really. So anyway, let's talk about this game. I think the fact that we are skirting around talking about the snow and stuff like that, I'll be honest. I think that Sheffield United will try their very best to get this on. I'm not sure they'll quite do it because they're saying that it's going to be kind of -6 overnight and things like that. So if that freezes, I think we've got no chance. What are you predicting?
I think it'll be -8 from some of the things I'm reading. I really am worried about that. That's the thing I'm most worried about, turning to ice, and then it'll only get to about 2. There will be sun. Will there be enough? I want it to go ahead for the reasons I've mentioned, but I want people to be safe.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on. Let's try and talk about this game because this game could go ahead. So, Hal, I'm going to talk about Sheffield United and the possible predicted lineup. So, as I do every week, listen to Hecky talk about the lads and who's close to being back on the grass or the snow, and who's picked up some injuries. And as per the Reading game, James McAtee, Illiman, and Jayden Bogle all came off the pitch. Now, Jayden Bogle, I didn't realise that he'd picked up an injury, but he had, apparently. So, all fine, apparently. But you know what Heckie's like. He's not a liar. He just tells tall tales. And that's fine because you are trying to outfox the other manager. I wouldn't expect him to come out and say, Illiman Ndiaye is injured. Like, we're not going to play him. Luton, if you want to come and beat us, this is the day to do it. I don't expect him to say anything like that. But out of the 3, it sounds like Illiman is possibly the only player that may struggle a little bit. I'm only reading between the lines because Hecky seems to think he's fine. McAtee was just cramp, so he will definitely back, you've got to think. Illiman sounded a little bit worse. It was his hip. He kept feeling his hip. Everybody knew that it was his hip because that's what he was constantly holding. But he did come out, as I said, on my match reaction and clap the fans and stuff like that. Normally, if someone's that injured, they don't come back out. Like the doctors and the physios want to see him in there. They want to really give him the proper treatment that they need when they're injured. So we'll have to wait and see. And Jayden had his foot stamped on. And it had swollen up, but apparently it's gone back down now. So what I'm going to do is pop up on screen my predicted team. Now, I have got Illiman in there because if he is fit, he has to play because he's our best player and he will make the difference. So I've got, obviously, League One West in there. League One West. I've got Anel Ahmedhodzic, Egan, Robinson, Baldock, Lowe. Now, Baldock is coming for Jayden Bogle, in my opinion. If Jayden Bogle is not fit enough for this game, Baldock goes in there, no problem at all. And if Jayden Bogle is fit, maybe still Baldock goes in there because I'm a big George Baldock fan, and I think Jayden Bogle's been off it a little bit recently. So, yeah, it'd be nice to just see a change in there. I've gone for Max Lowe because I'm just expecting Hecky to go with Max Lowe again. I would have put Osborne in 1 or 2 times recently, but he seems to be going with Max Lowe. I thought he was slightly better against Reading as well. Tommy Doyle needs a start. He absolutely needs a start. Tommy Doyle is a fantastic player, and he's sat on the bench week in, week out pretty much. He had a game against Spurs. He played against, I'm trying to think who it was, where he scored the free kick now. He's not getting the game time he needs, so I'm putting him in. I think Ollie Norwood had a pretty poor game against Reading, but Ollie Norwood plays every day of the week for me. Sander Berger, I'm not sure about this one. I would have gone James McAtee if it wasn't for the cramp. I think Hecky might go Sander in here, along with Illiman, and then Ollie McBurney up top. I can't really see any other changes. Hal, do you want to shine a light on any other positions that you think might change other than Ben Osborne?
I don't think Ben will be fit. I think the free kick was against Millwall, wasn't it? For
Millwall.
Doyle. And I do want to highlight the fact that in his interview, Ollie McBurney, he says man at the end of most things.
Yeah, man.
When he said, I was delighted for Illy, man.
I don't know.
I don't know. And we might
remember
never.
That.
The only way we'd know is if he'd said, I'm delighted for Illy, man. And then you'd know.
I think he said Illy, man.
I do. I'm convinced he said that and not even knew that he'd done it.
No, I'm sure because it wasn't an Illyman, it was Illy man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I like that. I'm glad you brought that up because I've forgotten about that.
There was an American football coach with the Oakland Raiders whose name has just escaped me, and he always said man before and after, and they had a quarterback called Peterman, and he went, man, that Peterman, man. I remember that. It tickled me quite a bit. That. All right, let's look at the opposition. George Bordock, who you've said should play ahead of Bogle. I agree, by the way. He has said, Luton away, we didn't play great. And I remember saying to the lads, we'll look back on that as a fantastic point. They make it difficult. They're high energy, forward thinking. It's going to be a difficult afternoon. We'll be ready. Sounds like they're up for it to put the score right and not get a draw, but actually go for 3 points in this home match. And the Hatters will be going to beautiful downtown Bramall Lane, unbeaten in 3 games following that home win against Swansea last weekend. They're on a run of 6 away games without defeat. This is not an easy game. Key defender Sonny Bradley has returned as well. He's been out with a long injury layoff. We know all about that. At the other end of the pitch, the Hatters line will again be led by Carlton Morris, who sits third in this season's championship scoring charts. He's got 14 goals. Adebayo, again, set to join the summer arrival up top. Luke Freeman, if you're wondering, of course, he's injured. So possible starting lineup for the Hatters: Horvath, Osho, Lockyer, Bell, Drammer, Nakamba, Campbell, who we like. We've mentioned him before. Doherty, Clark, Morris, and Adebayo. And that is what I think Luton will likely go with. When we talk about the referee for this one, this is a really, really interesting choice for me. I'm very, very surprised about this. Get ready to sigh. The referee for Sheffield United versus Luton is Lee Doherty.
Oh.
Now, the reason I'm really surprised at this is, first of all, we've had him very recently, and it doesn't seem that you get referees coming around so soon. He's from Blackpool, no issue with that. He's refereed 26 games this season. He's given 121 yellows, high. 5 reds, high. 9 penalties in 26. For example, the last referee that we had refereed 27 games and had given 4 penalties. So that gives you an idea. 2 of which he gave against us, both in that match that he refereed recently, which was the 3-1 home win against Wrexham in the FA Cup. Here's why I'm surprised. Paul Heckingbottom and Billy Sharp both said they weren't really, and I'm paraphrasing here, super impressed with his performance, to the point that Billy actually got fined. Do you think, Nick, that plays, even if it's just subconsciously, on Lee's mind when he's making maybe a crucial decision in this game?
Yes, subconsciously, I do. But also, it could work either way, because he might be thinking, oh, I don't want to give anything to Billy Sharp. But then also he might be thinking, I might get back in his good books here and give him a. No,
he won't be thinking that, but he might be thinking, I can't make it look like I'm anti-Sheffield United. So he might go completely the other way because his assessors are going to be watching him. Either way, he shouldn't, I don't think, even be put in this position. It's far too recent. It was an awful refereeing performance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think he'll look back on it as a ref and go, do you know what? I got a few things wrong in that game.
Yeah, definitely. There was the most blatant one to me wasn't actually the penalty where Mullin jumped into the box. It was an innocuous one on the halfway line where Illiman got pulled and dragged and pulled and dragged, and it's like
that's what I was thinking of. Absolutely.
That was one of the weirdest decisions I've ever seen, because I do think that when everybody's saying, "Oh, one of the worst decisions, one of the worst refereeing performances," that's what I think of straight away, because that was the most blatant foul I have ever seen, because they were just trying to stop him. It weren't like they'd gone in for a challenge and they may have just missed it, or he could have got the ball. They pulled him back 3 or 4 times and he lost the ball. So yeah, it was horrendous. I thought you were going to go in there with the reason why I didn't expect him to be refereeing this game is because he should never referee another game in his life because he was that bad. But no, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. And do you know what? Since you've started talking about referees on these previews, I started to know more about referees, and I don't like it. I don't want to know about referees.
Well,
they should be invisible.
We've spoiled Ian Boyden, who's a supporter of this channel's birthday, by giving that news. So, Jeff, thanks for pointing that out. I have wished Ian a happy birthday privately. So, yeah, he also was the man in the middle for our 3-0 win at home to Blackpool. So, Blackburn even. He's from Blackpool. He wouldn't have been doing that game. Swings and indeed roundabouts. Nick, you know where we're jumping next. My most hated part of this entire preview, score prediction.
Yep, I'll pop it up on screen what I went for and what Ollie went for. It actually looks like you're going for a 1-1 here. I don't think you are, because I think that you are the happy clapper. I am the mid clapper, and I think Ollie is the opposite way. He's the sad clapper.
Ollie, if you're watching, please. I'm going to say a 2-1 Blades win, because I am Mr. Positive. If you want to call me a happy clapper, we can talk about what you and I have been chatting about off air recently. Long term, how the season's going to end. I can bring that up if you want.
Oh, you can do.
All right. Well, I am very, very positive. I think Sheffield United are going up automatically. I think we're in the best position. I don't see it like these Borough fans are saying, I'd rather be in our position. I remember Bolton saying the same thing. Look at them now, right? We are in the position. We're in the ascendancy. I've even had a Borough fan say to me only yesterday, like, oh, you're in bad form. We literally won our last game. You are only as good as your last game. And we've already seen this season, the only team better than us in the league is Burnley. And when we put it together, we thrashed them at home, which means the players have the ability to do that at their feet. So it's all up here. Get that sorted. They'll be absolutely fine, because I actually believe they are good enough. They are the second best team in the league, and we will prove it, and we will go up. And I'm very confident, and I'm not panicking.
I'm glad you said that, because what you were alluding to earlier was the fact that I was a bit more negative about it. I think my outlook on it changes with the wind. Like a lot of people, it does, because obviously when you've seen how bad the teams play, because we have played really, really terribly recently in certain games, it's easy to see how we could lose 3 or 4 games, and Borough could just keep flying up that table and overtake us eventually. But Borough have got to have some sort of bad run at some point, whether it is just one game where they drop 2 points or somebody scores a last-minute winner against them. They've got to drop some points. And I know Benjamin Bloom put something out there where they lose a game and then they win 4 or 5. They lose a game, win 4 or 5. But I think they will come a cropper at some point. I think we are good enough to get over that line. I don't think it'll be scintillating, but I do think we have got the experience to get over the line, and I do think Borough will fall at some point.
I'm not even looking at Borough. I'm not even thinking about Borough. I don't even look at Borough's results, because it's all about what Sheffield
What a load of rubbish.
No, it's all about what Sheffield United do.
No,
you will message me and you will say to me,
oh,
have you seen Borough's score? No, I haven't, because I don't care, because we need to take care of our business, and we'll be fine, because we're ahead of them.
I've never said that. Never said that to Hal, and Hal's never replied with, I don't look at Borough's results.
Let's talk about Carrick. One of the best things that could happen to us is West Ham sack Moyes, which is highly believable, highly likely. I watched West Ham last night, and they are not good. And I hate West Ham. Let's make that very clear. And then they hire Michael Carrick, who's got that West Ham connection, and then Borough, who struck upon gold of this manager, would likely drop away, and then we'd have to worry about Watford.
No, we wouldn't. No, we wouldn't. No chance. Chris Wilder's come out and said that. I don't know how much he has actually said that they can catch the top 2, but he's reading comics anyhow. He's
reading. I tell you what, though, it makes sense for a lot of local papers to talk about Wilder, because it will still sell papers, and people are still interested. Personally, I love Chris Wilder and everything he did, but I like to focus purely on Sheffield United.
Too right. Let's now focus on Sheffield United and Luton, because both teams have had an odd few players that have played for both. Here we go. Player connections. There's nobody there that's played for both. And then actually, Hal, there's not that many players that we can think of off the top of our head that's played for both, because in our heyday, Luton weren't quite as good as what they are now.
Give me some that you can think of, and then I'll.
Well, obviously Luke Freeman, we've spoken about already.
Norrington Davis, we've spoken about as well.
Yep. Martin Crane is always the first one that comes to my mind. Always. After that, not too sure.
Alex Baptiste, Paul Connolly, your favourite ever player. Bob Hatton. I mean, who can forget? The streets won't. And
No,
that's pretty much off the top of my head all I can really think of.
There's bound to be a few more.
Matt Spring.
I love how you said it like, oh, everyone will remember that Matt Spring played for Luton.
Well,
someone might not even remember who Matt Spring is.
He literally sprung to mind.
Very good.
Sorry. We haven't had any like snow or ice footballers. I'm really disappointed during the live chat. Maybe they'll be in for people that watch it later. But also, I got wood in Paphos. I just wanted to point that out. And thanks to Demos. And if you're in Cyprus, head to his shop, Nel Art. Check it out.
Yeah, make sure you go over to Cyprus and check him out.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Sounds very enthusiastic.
Absolutely. Hal, I've really, really enjoyed this one. It's been nice to chat to you. We haven't actually chatted for quite a while as well, off air or on air. So it's nice to have this chat. Obviously, it could be a preview that we never see a game from, but we've had a good time anyway.
When the rearranged game's on, just play this again. They won't remember.
They won't remember. No, but I will, and I want to get us a few more views.
All right, we'll do another one.
Yeah, we'll do another one. Right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like the video before you go. It helps us in more ways than you know, and we know because we don't know how it helps. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.